Music of Jews harp, similarities and differences among the Turkic peoples. The Jews harp is a musical instrument found widely around the world, especially among peoples in Eurasia. Although it has a simple structure which consists of a vibrating tongue and a frame, it can produce a wide variety of sounds by using the human mouth cavity as a resonator. Depending on the ethnic groups and their cultures, this instrument is used for various purposes, not only making funny sounds, but also such as imitating natural sounds, playing simple or sometimes complex rhythms, playing melodies, and conveying hidden messages. It is played in various situations such as personal entertainment, shamanistic rituals and healing, and romantic occasions such as courtship. The Jews harp is also widely spread among Turkic-speaking peoples, most of whom have been played this instrument traditionally, although there are differences in tendencies to which it is loved and popular enough to be called as a national instrument, such as among the Sakha people, and it is not considered to be very important in some other cultures on the other hand. Although the basic shapes of all people's instruments are very similar, and the names are universal, with slight variations such as komus, demirkomus, temirkomus, shankomus, and so on. The music played on the Jews harp is very different according to the musical culture of each ethnicity. For example, among the Sakha people from the northeastern Siberia, where the Jews harp komus is most popular, it is used to imitate different kinds of natural sounds such as birds, animals, wind and river, to express the joy of spring coming after the long severe winter. Using different techniques, the instrument sometimes used to express philosophical motives such as encounter or thought to the motherland. In this type of music, the most important element is the timbre, but not the melody, either the rhythm. This is why their Jews harps are not tuned in one pitch, even when more than two people play together. The music produced there may sound avant-garde to ears accustomed to Western concepts of music, but it can also be said to be extremely variable and important in terms of reconsidering the lost form of music, namely enjoying the temporal changes of the timbre itself. The Sakha people themselves sometimes use the term melody to explain music that is made up of such timbral changes, and sometimes describe instruments that are not in fact tuned to specific pitches with correct relationships in the Western sense, but are simply arranged in order of sizes as tuned Jews harps. This is confusing and misleading, but the fact that they have to use such expressions can also be said to be a limitation of musicology, which has developed mainly based on Western music, which considers the most important element for the music to be temporal changes in pitch, and that can be written down on paper. Among the Tuvans of the center of Asia, the imitating sounds of nature also exist, but it is regarded as merely a pastime for children and young people. It's not given much importance and is not as developed as that of the Sakha people. Traditionally, more serious use of Jews harp is to produce a melody with a technique in which, by changing the volume of the mouth cavity, emphasizing and controlling the overtones contained in the basic sound of the Jews harp. Sometimes the lyrics of a song can be sung by moving the mouth without making a sound. Furthermore, there are cases where a performer sings throat singing kome while playing a Jews harp simultaneously. Even in such cases, it seems that the performer usually selects an instrument that happens to be nearby and has a pitch that is just fit for singing, rather than using an instrument that has been tuned to a specific pitch by a maker. However, there are instances recorded by Suzuki between 1985 and 1995 in which the Jews harps tuned in a certain pitch are used by multiple performers in ensembles established during 60s and 70s. Further research is needed to check when and by whom such instruments were first made. Among the Kyrgyz people of Central Asia, in many cases, modern metal Jews harp Temil komus and even the wooden Jews harp Jigachos komus are precisely tuned to a specific pitch in the Western sense. It is likely due to the need for them to be played by multiple musicians or in ensembles with other instruments such as the plucked string instrument komus. However, among the old instruments, there are some that are unlikely to have been tuned. It is possible to think that the production of accurately tuned Jews harps began during the Soviet time, when various Kyrgyz traditional instruments, which were originally instruments for solo performances, were corrected and ensembles were formed. But it is not clear to the author when or by whom they actually began to be made. Efforts to gather more information is needed. There are also many other Jews harp cultures that have developed in their own unique ways while sharing some sort of commonalities such as those seen among the Bashkort, Tatar, Uzbek and Kazakh peoples. And it might be extremely meaningful to delve deeply into the meaning of the Jews harp in each culture at the same time considering the styles of its music around the world from a broader perspective. Thank you for attention.